Welcome, my dear friends, my dear masters, and my dear gods, to another episode of Thinking and Destiny, the book authored by Harold Waldwin Percival. I am S.K.Rajan, representing the Indian Federation of Spiritual Scientists and the Pyramid Valley International. It's my pleasure to offer to you the contents of this great book, which has been held as a book of books, and Patriji is also forwarding messages from this book, selected messages for the benefit of all the spiritual seekers and masters across the world. Books are the swiftest shortcut to enlightenment, believes Patriji. And so it is for us to take the cream of whatever Percival wants to convey to us. I am accompanied by Brahmavidvarishta Girija and Purnima, who are both senior meditators, having meditated for over 22 years in the company and with the guidance of Brahmarshi Subhash Patriji. I also stand benefited by means of the knowledge that he has been able to offer to me through all his books, all the books recommended by him, and of course through our association with this great, enlightened, self-actualized spiritual master. So friends, today's topic is accidents, because we have to know in our life how accidents occur, whether it is intentional or is it accidental. This is what Percival poses as a question to all of us. So we have to understand what is our contribution in causing it, or to desist from it, or does this accident or any accident give us any learning. So all these matters will be analyzed in the scope of these discussions, and so I start reading the book now. Accidents and chance are words used by persons who do not think clearly. Anyone who thinks must be convinced that in a world as orderly as this, there is no room for the word accident and chance. Every natural science depends upon the recurrence of certain facts in a certain order. A physical law means facts observed and the assurance of their recurrence in orderly sequence. Such physical laws govern all physical actions, from sowing to harvesting, from boiling water to sailing a vessel, from playing a fiddle to the electrical transmission of sound and images by radio. Can it be that there is no certainty of the orderly sequence of facts and events when we search for moral law or for moral order? There is such a law, and it accounts for so-called accidents. Everything existing on the physical plane is an exteriorization of a thought which must be adjusted through the one who issued the thought in accordance with his responsibility and at the conjunction of time, place, and condition.
So, hi friends. So, here we are dealing with the topic accidents today. So, beautifully, he has put it again. Here, he has told that there are no accidents at all in this world where there is complete order. Those who think that there are accidents, they are the people who don't think clearly. That is what Percival says here. So he also says that the law of thought says that everything has to be exteriorized from the person who issued a thought, that for that person the exteriorization should happen. So accident is part of the exteriorization. He would have given that thought or issued that thought long before, but it is getting manifested now in the physical realm. So it is not at all an accident. So he goes on to say that everything is already happening according to an order, and that is from sowing to harvesting. Everything is already planned and is in order.
Yeah, it's a beautiful subject on which all of us should come to know, because at the very first sight of an accident, we think that somebody has come and hit somebody else, and so the person who is involved, or the persons who are involved, unnecessarily lose their lives. That is what we think. But Percival goes to the source. He looks at things in a different way. So we all are habituated to look at things in a linear way. But Percival has a multi-dimensional view of things. So he goes above everything, goes to the source and finds out why such a thing should happen. Why should there be accidents? That is what is the subject today. So he has beautifully put that everything has been already set in motion. Only according to the time, place, and situation, things will get materialized. So we only have the first, first of all, we only have put the seeds, sowed the seeds for such happenings in our lives. But we forget about it as when we come here onto this earth, and then when anything happens, we think it is all by accident. So, so it is natural for us to think that some God has not been very unkind, or the other person has been very ruthless in driving, or we put the blame on others. But originally, it is our thought that has only come into being now, that has been materialized now. So, first we should take responsibility that it is our thoughts which cause all the accidents, or whatever happens in life is because of all our thoughts. Thoughts have to get materialized, they have to be balanced. So, in order to, for us to have, in accordance with the law of karma, the sins that we have done, in accordance with that only the thoughts will come out, and the thought will get materialized. So it is all done through so much of other things are involved. There is the law of karma, the thought region, everything is involved here. But we don't know, ignorantly we say that such an accident has happened. So it doesn't happen accidentally like that. Everything has been planned. So because we want that thought which has originated from us to get materialized, or to get manifest in this in the due course in our lives. So we are the reason, or the source, that we should understand very clearly. So we cannot we cannot just push away our duties like that, our responsibilities. We should take the responsibility, and then think about the event in that manner, in that angle, so that we will understand things better. So we will not blame others for anything that is happening. It is all in our hands. We have only created our own reality. That is what we should understand. And moreover, everything that happens on this earth may appear to be unjust and is not in order, and there is a lot of tragedy here. No, Richard Bach says it only points out at our ignorance, the depth of our ignorance. The mark of our ignorance is the depth of our belief in injustice and tragedy. That is what Richard Bach says. So everything that happens is perfectly in order. So we should never think something has gone wrong here, because some events appear to be not the right things happening to a person. No, it is not like that. All the happenings in one's life is because of his or her thoughts only. It's all based on that. That is what very clearly stated by our Percival.
An accident is an exteriorization of a thought. An accident is an event which happens to one or more persons or things unexpectedly, without being foreseen and without intentions. Therefore, the accident stands out from the general and foreseen order of events as unusual or separate. A so called accident is, like any other event on the physical plane, a thought in a certain part of its course. A thought is a being created by the conscious light and desire, and which, when issued, has in it an aim, a potential design, and a balancing factor, which balancing factor, like the needle of a compass, points to the final balance of the thought as a whole. The thought endures until the balancing factor has brought about an adjustment through the one who has issued the thought. The balancing factor causes exteriorizations as long as the thought endures. Whenever the thought, moving in its courses, approaches the physical plane, it causes the one who issued it to be in place for an exteriorization of that thought. And exteriorization can happen only when there is a juncture of time, condition, and place. The laws which control the exteriorization do not always fit in with the intention and expectation of the persons concerned, and the exteriorization is then called an accident.
So, friends, here Percival again has given a vivid picture of what accidents are. So he says that it is not, we don't expect something to happen. It happens unusually. We don't foresee anything, and that is called an accident. Yes, that is true. We all know that something suddenly happens to us. So we call that an accident. And he says that when we have been in that place because we have issued or a thought, and it is getting balanced and exteriorized in the congenial moment, that is when the condition, place and time is preferable, that happens. So without which accidents don't happen. That is what Percival says. And so we are there. If we are present, if we find ourselves present in that situation, then we are part of it, and we have issued a thought accordingly. And so the balancing is happening. So actually, from this paragraph, I feel we should be actually very happy that the exteriorization is taking place, because we are getting that balance there, and we should be happy about it, because once we issued that thought long time back, and we have forgotten now, but if we remember, and if we can if we find ourselves in that place, it's very good, because we are balancing all the thoughts that we issued. So we should actually balance all the thoughts. Basically, that is what Percival says, and that is what we are here for on the earth, to balance all the thoughts that we issued. So we should know where we are, and if that is happening, we should not feel depressed or sad about it, any accident. So we should in fact feel happy that it is getting balanced.
Yeah, it is a great revelation by our Percival sir, because we feel accident happens just like that, because we an undesirable event. It is not at all thought of, never expected, at the wrong time. That's what we feel. Something, some event happens. That is what is known as an accident. So whenever we don't desire and we don't expect, it happens. So, but actually it happens according to the time, the situation and the condition. So the thought is very powerful. So the concerned person or the concerned persons are driven to that place, driven to that situation, and driven to that condition by the very thought they have issued. So the power of, think of the power of the thought. So it has got such a great power that an event is formed because of that. So it is all the combination of thoughts or a single person's thought that gets exteriorized because of that accident. So which we call as an accident, that event. So, but we always think it is some punishment by some god somewhere, or it is because of some curse by somebody. Like that, we put the blame on others. But basically, we are the source, we are the creators. So we should know about this, take responsibility, and go about it. As Purnima has rightly said, yes, we should be content that somewhere the thought had to balance. So now it has balanced. Okay, now what to do? So we have to learn from that. Whatever has to be learned from that event has to be learnt by us, because we have set in motion all that. So the courage with which we will face it, we have to undergo that, is it needs a lot of courage, and that is got only through meditation. So when you practice meditation, definitely the mind becomes clearer, and you start thinking that yes, I have been the cause of all the and responsible for all the events that take place in my life, be it an accident or not an accident, whatever comes is because of my own thought. One should come to that understanding. It is easily done by making our minds empty now and then get accessing lot of cosmic energy. Definitely, that which is called as meditation. Then it helps us a lot to have that courage and the clarity, and to take responsibility for every event that happens in our life.
An accident is a perceived physical part of a thought which is proceeding on its otherwise invisible course. The exteriorization makes visible that part of the thought which touches the physical plane and is not yet balanced. The demonstration is made on or through the person who is concerned in the accident. Accidents such as a personal injury or a barn being struck by lightning, or an occurrence which prevents one from embarking on a ship that is to be wrecked, come only to those whose thoughts are thereby partially exteriorized to them. An accident presents to the one to whom it happens something of his past, either distant or recent. The accident is a part of one of his own thoughts that he has not balanced, and which will endure and from time to time meet him face to face as a physical event until he has paid or received the payment through the direct exteriorization of the design, learns his lesson from the child of his mind and desire, and has satisfied his conscience. Often accidents come to injure him, often to help him, and sometimes as protections.
So again, he is beautifully put here, Percival's master. So he says that before any accident happens, it has an invisible journey. That is the thought that the person has issued. The person who is present in that accident has issued the thought, and it travels, takes a journey, and is made visible. So before it is made visible, it goes on a journey, and that is invisible to all of us. So and it is made visible, and then finally it comes to the person to give him a lesson. The person learns something, or it is also, it can, in some situations it might be a kind of protection to the person, is what Percival says here. And all that happens to him, it comes as a personal injury, or a kind of, he cited some examples here. A person who's embarking on a journey in a ship which is to be wrecked. So he doesn't know that the ship is going to get wrecked, but he goes on that journey, and finally the ship wrecks. So that is a kind of this is all to give us an example of how accidents happen, and that person must have put that thought, and it has materialized. So that is what we should understand. So it all shows what we sow is what we reap. That is if we can make it brief, I think this is the message that Percival is giving us here.
Yeah, the very book, the title of the book itself is Thinking and Destiny. So our destiny depends only on our thinking, whatever it may be. It may be a good event or the so-called bad event in our lives. It's all because of our own thoughts. So our thinking, the thought that we release, it has got enormous energies. Until it is exteriorized, it will never stop. It will be there somewhere. Now or later, it will come into being. The time may vary, but definitely the thought will get exteriorized because it has got such powers which we don't, the normal human beings don't understand the power of our own thoughts. So it has to get exteriorized somewhere or the other. So it will wait for the right situation, right condition, and right time for it to exteriorize. So, a part of the thought may also exteriorize. Some people they feel like going into a bus. It may meet with an accident, but they find in the last moment they step out and come out of the bus for some reason. They get a phone call, urgently they have to go somewhere. So they may not even take part in that. So like that, it may get exteriorized, but fully it may not. The thought may not get exteriorized. So all these things are happenings. So we should go into what is happening very deeply and then find out why it has happened and what lessons we have to learn. So exteriorization of a thought definitely brings so much of learning for us. So the entire life is full of learning only for us. So we should be joyous that we are able to learn so many things in our lives. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had the chance to learn so much and then improve ourselves and we grow side by side. So it is all a part of growth that is happening here. Our own thinking is causing us all these events for us for our own good. So we should take it like that, and it is also the truth that is happening. Whatever happens is for our own good only.
The reason why events happen to him in the form of accidents is an exceptional, unforeseen manner, or that a man would not do certain things to himself, like breaking an arm, or that circumstances do not call for a commission of a crime against him, that is, an intentional injury. Or finally, that the happening accidentally is the easiest and most direct way to bring about the juncture of time, condition, and place for the exteriorization. Further, there is in the happening of an accident a special call for attention. An accident rather than an ordinary event produces this because the accident is unlooked for and startling. An accident is brought about in the ordinary course of the law of thought as destiny. Every man has a vast number of thoughts cycling in his mental atmosphere toward and away from exteriorization on the physical plane. The thoughts live on with a tendency to exteriorize in the events which the balancing factor in each of them requires and projects.
So, friends, here he says that Percival says that each person need not go and break his hand if he comes to know about what karma or what kind of thought he has issued. If he comes to know, he need not go on his own and cause any personal injury to himself, but it doesn't it doesn't go like that. That's why it is not that knowledge is not given, he doesn't know. So that's why that what happens is accident happens so suddenly and it's so startling, and it comes off as a shock to the person, so that it brings in that learning, is what Percival says. He says that someone need not deliberately go and do anything to himself. That is not called for. But all this is planned for the person who has issued the thought, so that he learns a lesson from it. He himself has issued the thought, so that he can get the best learning out of it. So it is beautifully put by Percival, and these are some of the things I think related to accidents. We can actually go deeper into it by reading this whole paragraph. I think all the viewers can do that to get a clear picture.
Yes, it's beautifully written here that the thoughts, until they are balanced and until every thought is exteriorized, it will be circling in our mental area. So it will be there for time, for eons of time. So there is no end of a thought until it gets balanced or it is exteriorized. So naturally, there is the way is for it to get exteriorized either by giving us good events in our lives, or by even sudden good things also may happen in our lives. That may also be accident for the good or accident for the bad. So the sudden accident for the bad, that will give us a real shock, real tremor, really. That will shake us, and then we'll learn our lessons very fast, very easily. So that is that it needs a shaking. The doer needs that experience, perhaps. So it is all because of the doer's thoughts only. It is the thoughts entertained by the doer. So, what we should do, we should desist from such thoughts, at least from now onwards. In such thoughts, it will get balanced automatically there by not having any sort of attachment to the objects that we think of. That's what Percival says. So, if we have the perfect thoughts, then no reaction can be there. There is no need of any exteriorization of thought. So, such events can be avoided by that, by our own thinking. So, if we change our thinking, we can change our destiny. That is what Percival goes on to say.
The purpose of an accident is to call one's attention to the thought of which it is one of the exteriorizations. One to whom an accident happens can always, by searching, find out something about that. Though the event may not reveal the whole past to him, it may reveal that portion of the past which it is necessary for him to know. If he tries to understand, he will learn, and he will learn more if he is willing to pay. He must pay anyway. What he learns will bring him nearer to the adjustment.
So again, here it is so beautifully put by Percival. Here he says that everything is law of cause and effect only. It's law of karma. So accidents means we have done something that has caused this, and we should learn from it. So everyone should pay for what they have done or what they have thought. So it's a payment or a payment kind of payment is what I feel, and nobody can escape payment. And accidents are also he says that Percival says accidents are we should become more alert and attentive to it. There is something that we should learn from it. We should ponder and think why we were present in that situation. Though the past is not fully revealed, the past action or thought is not fully revealed to us, the portion that we might have encountered with the present moment, we can get that portion of the past, is what Percival says here.
Yeah, it is beautifully said by Percival that yes, we should think over, we should go deeper into that event which is called as an accident, then find out why it has at all happened to me. What is the reason? Yes, we can go back to the past and we'll get the knowledge. The thought itself has got power to give us that knowledge, and that power it may not reveal the entire past, but definitely that portion of the thought which has caused this exteriorization will definitely reveal itself why it has happened, why that thought was entertained by the doer at that time. So many incarnations before, we would have entertained such a thought, and that has materialized in this Janma. Say after five births, 5 re-existences, after that it may happen here. Say 500 years later. But why it happens like that? Because the condition, the situation, the time, everything should be in accordance with the exteriorization of the thought. So the whole entire thought should be exteriorized. In order for that to happen, the time, place and condition are very much essential. So it will take place only at that time, not when we desire. So because we have already set the thought in motion, so it is as Purnima has rightly said, we should entertain the right thoughts, and we at the beginning itself we should be very alert, aware, and be conscious of our thoughts, so that the destiny can be changed. So thank you very much, dear viewers, for patiently listening to all of us session.
So friends, I would conclude by saying that if there are incidents which happen to be accidents, then it is for us to go to do things which will enhance our spiritual intelligence. A person who is spiritually intelligent is a person who always goes to the source of things to understand why, what, and when. So once he comes to understand the source or the reason for a happening, it may be his past lives or it may be his past actions which have caused these. But then one matter is very, very clear that everything depends upon how we have thought about it, and that is what Percival keeps on reiterating. He says, unless you think properly, unless you regulate your thinking, your destiny will not be proper for you or good for you. So it is for us to regulate it in such a way that we have the best of destinies and we are happy on this earth as long as we live here. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.